God. Dan, are you excited?
I am absolutely stoked.
I feel like you're lying.
I'm excited. I mean, it's been, well over a year and a half now since I've recorded anything other than like Zoom meetings.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool. We should have thought about doing this like literally a year and a half ago, and our show would probably still be on, but this
Yeah,
one's
I mean,
just as well.
yeah, that's true. If we could have done it from a distance, probably would have worked. But I didn't have a work laptop then, and my current laptop's a dinosaur. So shout out to my job, which will not be named, for
Shout out.
letting me use this, even though they don't know.
Oh my God. Well, as I said in my intro, I already introduced you and all, but Dan, good to see you. How are you? I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, like I said, I'm stoked. It's definitely doing kind of weird doing this over Zoom rather than being in person.
Yeah.
See
I feel back at home, honestly. Like this is just how it should be.
I just took the difference between Nashville and Chicago, and we're basically just smack dab right in the middle of Bloomington. So
I know. But we'll just give a cute little background here, because I don't even think we did that when we were on Sliding Into the DMs, like give a little recap on how we knew each other, how we met, because it's kind of important considering what we're talking about this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it plays right into it. So
yeah. So a background of how Dan and I met here. Daniel and I have been friends for 3.5 years. Oh my God, that's so cute. That's like my most successful relationship from a dating app, like probably ever.
Yeah, including friends and everything. Yeah, like, probably.
Everything completely. We met on Tinder, I remember, because it was the only app I used. And you were like one of the first guys I ever matched with when I started on dating apps, because you're a Blono native and I was a Blono student. So I was like, this dude, white guy, swipe right, doing what I normally do.
I think I was home for Thanksgiving break, and
I think
that was why I was like in that area, because I know that I had like at least another semester of school, or not semester. I knew I had a little bit more school before I was going to be back in town, but I think the reason I was using the app in my hometown was because I knew graduation was coming up.
Graduation was coming up, and you were probably thinking, okay, there's always some college chicks in my town, so
exactly.
Let's get after it. But I remember that. And then we both have different stories when it comes to like how we met and how we became friends. I'll run down mine real quick.
Yeah, go for it. You tell yours and I'll tell the truth.
So rude. No, okay. This is how I saw it. I was like, okay, this dude, like, we were never like in a flirty type relationship at all. Like, we were always like very just friendly. Like, I was just like, I just knew from the beginning. I was like, this guy is like just like me. Like, is this even possible on a dating app? Because I was like, dating apps are just strictly for like, you want to hook up, let's hook up. I was like, there's no way in hell, like, that's not what this guy is like this is what this guy wants. He just wants like probably a hookup to date someone. Like, he can't just be looking for friends. So I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden, I forget what happened exactly in between Christmas and New Year's, but I came back for the spring semester, and like, we were both going to be at the pub, this bar over by my college, and you were like, yeah, I'll let you know when I'm there. And then you never did. And then I saw your story and it was you at the pub. And then I saw that you got a girlfriend like immediately after that. And then we obviously like didn't talk after that. And then she dumps you, and then we became friends. How's that for a story?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's actually pretty close to the truth.
Thank you. Okay, fucking hey.
But our stories aren't actually too much different. I mean, yeah, so I was home at some point. Now that I think about it, I might have actually been home after Thanksgiving, maybe closer to just like visiting the family or something along those lines, maybe for my sister's birthday, which is in early December, when we might have matched. And then I know I went back to school, and then obviously I graduated, and, conversation fell off. I know that the original reason we matched, in my opinion,
Olive Garden.
I saw that you worked at Olive Garden. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, shit, who do you know? Because I just worked at Olive Garden that summer.
You're right. That was our first conversation.
Yeah. So there's all of that. And then this, I guess, doesn't really paint me in the best light, but in the whole
Do it, Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, in the whole pub 2 situation, you know, like, I was planning on going there. I'd already been talking to a girl that I met on Tinder, of all places. Um, and, you know, me and her were going to meet up at the bar. So I was like, okay, you know, my friend Ben was with me. And I was like, okay, you know, we're going to go to pub 2 and we're going to meet up with this girl. And then there was another girl that I also had previously met on Tinder, like the summer before me and her had hooked up. And she told me her and her friends are going to be at the bar. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, got a plan and a backup.
You were rolling in hoes, basically.
Yeah, kind of. And then I was like, oh, you know, like, I don't remember if you sent me a Snapchat or I don't remember what exactly it was, but I was like, oh, you know, like something popped up. And I was like, oh, you know, I'll see if this girl Davita's there too. Because, I mean, it was literally just me and my friend, and we're not the type that we're just going to go to a bar and just sit there, the two of us, at
Yeah.
least not at the time that we were 23 years old.
No.
So I was like, okay, you know, I got to have a plan of who we can meet up with, who the next person we can meet up with is, and who the next person is. So, yeah, it kind of went 3 deep. And, yeah, so the order that I actually went in, though, was I got there prior to the girl that I was actually trying to see, and I ran into group 2, and we, like, said, hey. And the thing that's funny is, like, after saying hey to group 2, obviously the original girl got there, and then I was talking to the original girl, like, 2 tables away from group 2. So, I mean, evidently I was just, like, a half a bar away from you two because you saw it happening, but
I did. I remember I never met you, obviously. Like, this was all, I just recognized you through your dating app photos. And I was like, I think that's Dan. I'm like, black the fuck out because why not? And I was like, I think that's that Dan dude. And then it was so weird because we kept each other on Snapchat after that. So that's how I knew you, like, started dating the girl I saw you with. So I was like, okay, good for him. He got a girlfriend. Fine. And then, so what happened after that was just basically like, what was it? Out of nowhere, you like hit me up, and then I was having like a party with all my friends, and then I like invited you. I was like, hey, you should come. Like, why not?
well, I think what it was I was obviously going through the breakup with the girl, and I moved back home. And while I had some friends in my hometown, I didn't have a lot of friends. Most of my friends were people who I met through her.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think I was at LA Fitness, and I saw that you guys were at Fiesta Ranchera, which those
It's
were like
next door,
literally right next door to each other. And yeah, I think I just kind of saw that, and I was like, oh, you know, like, hey, I'm right next door. And then I think that just kind of sparked up a conversation where you were like, oh, no way, you know, like right there. And then I explained that I was going through a breakup, and I think I kind of explained that I was going through a roughish time. And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, hey, you know, it's Cinco de Mayo. If you want to come over to Fiesta, you're more than welcome to. And I was like, you know, I'm at the gym, I'm all sweaty, I'm good. And you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna have a party later on. If you want to just kind of stop by. And I was like, yeah, you know, for sure, I will. Like, I'll do that. And yeah, so then that was kind of where I got there. I met you, met so many of your friends. I met John, told him I was a White Sox fan, and he told me the Cubs were better, and I put him and Josh in their place. And I think they
Good
remember that
times.
conversation more than I do. But
You met my really cringy ex, Dr. Von Steen, but
yeah,
you know him better by his initials, so.
I mean, who else shows up with a cooler full of Stella? Like, that's a
Not a
problem.
cooler full of just Stella. It was a cooler full of Stella and Jungle Juice.
I don't think I drank any of the jungle juice. I think
Never forget. I blacked out off that Jungle Juice. That was insane. Dumped him after that, but it's okay.
then got back together. Then
Yeah.
dumped him again, and then got back together. I
Yeah,
think
we
is
don't
actually
talk about
fair.
that part though. We just kind of ended as like I just dumped him and that was it.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple of relapses though.
There, you know what? It's not a it's not a DeVito relationship unless there's not a couple relapses. That's for sure.
That's fair. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the extent of it.
That's how we met, and honestly, we've just been really close since, and it's all because of a dating app, which is super weird because I don't talk to people I match with. Like, you know, okay, like a little secret about me. On Snapchat and my phone book, I always have like my matches, my dating app matches, like in my phone, but like there's like a fire or a bumblebee or like a door for Hinge after their name because I'm like, who the fuck is this person? And I remember, oh, they're a dating app boy. And I was like going through my phone, like maybe like we're already friends for like a year and a half, so it was like 2 years ago. I'm going through my phone, and Dan over here still has a fucking flame next to his name, and I'm like, I could take that off now. Like he's not a Tinder boy in my mind anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think after a certain amount of times of hanging out as a group and like wingmanning for you, I feel like I've earned the friendship title rather than a.
You've made out with too many of my friends, so too many of them. You're done. I'm cutting you off.
Sorry, I'm like mentally counting right now. I don't want to name names, but I mean, I don't think the number is outrageous. I think the majority of your friends are going to listen to this and be like,
who do you make out with? Okay, how about the number of my friends that you had things for?
Okay, that's
more outrageous.
Yeah, that's really accurate.
That's crazy. Like literally every time I'm like, Daniel, stop it. No. Yeah. And then he tries to like showboat and like try to beat him in flip cup, and then he loses and he's like, damn.
Yeah, beat him in flip cup. Yeah, there's a lot of that's a rough patch. 23 wasn't great. No one likes you when you're 23. So
that is accurate. But another way Dan and I got close was we co-hosted Sliding Into the DMs, which is where a lot of you guys, started listening to me doing podcasting and such. He was my co-host. We did 2 episodes together. And the whole concept of podcasting was because of what Dan and I thought of. Like we sat at, what bar was it? Firehouse?
Yeah, we were at Firehouse.
And we were just like, let's just make a podcast. And I was like, really? So everything that I do, like this entire like quote unquote legacy that I've been carrying around, this quarter life happy hour, all this stuff, the inspiration is still like mine and Dan's like concept of a show. Like we wanted to make a podcast about being in your mid-20s, and I kind of just turned it into like the successes and the struggles that come with being in your mid-20s, but originally it was like the guy girl perspective of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was also just the not being a famous person giving people advice, like some Barstool podcasts where, when you're a 10 and you're telling people how you're getting people, it's not as impressive going through your life when I don't want to say a lot of things are handed to you, because I'm sure those people work really hard, but
yeah,
it's just the whole concept of, hey, when you're in the Midwest and you're not doing anything like top of the line, you don't have 10,000 Twitter followers or 1 million Twitter followers, how does dating go and how does life go when you're just kind of an average person? So I mean, yeah, that's kind of where the whole inspiration of everything got started.
Yeah, like, I mean, honestly, when you're a 7 just living a normal life, like this is what happens. And it's like you're more relatable when you're a 7 just getting through life. So I don't see a problem with it.
Exactly. I've always claimed myself to be a proud 7, and I'll take that to the grave.
I'm a proud 7, write it on my tombstone.
Exactly.
So we are going to talk about something. I'm very excited to talk about this topic again because we did in our first episode of Sliding Into the DMs, and it was titled One for Friends, One for Friends, One for Fucking, One for Dating, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, and it was just talking about the big 3 dating apps. And with how society works nowadays, I feel like dating apps are just a prominent factor when it comes to meeting people in whichever way you want to, whether you're looking for friends with benefits or you're looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend, whether you're looking for a spouse, or if you're just looking for friends. There's a different purpose for each of them. So we're just going to dive right into it. And I'd like to call Dan and I, the king and queen of dating apps, rejection royalty, if you will. How does that make you feel? Does that sting a little? It stings me a little bit.
I mean, I think it makes sense, I mean, you really don't become like a king or a queen of dating apps if you're having success on them, If you're having success on them, you're probably in a relationship and not using them at 27, so.
Like, it's really saying something when we are each other's only success story in dating apps. And it's not even a relationship, it's a friendship.
In all fairness, I do have another friend through dating apps.
Okay.
However, it's more recently. It's more recent since you. So you're the longest tenured.
Yes.
But he was January 2019. So she's on almost 2 years now too. So you're at like 3.5.
You're right. I gotta give credit to Nate. And yeah, you're right. But we're the longest successful relationship, I'd say. But other than that, I've pretty much failed at dating apps. How about you?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't still be on them.
You're like, I'm
Technically,
27 and single, Davina. What do you think?
technically, I'm not on them anymore. I deleted them, and then you're like, hey, I want to do an episode about dating apps. So I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and re-download the big three, which we're going to cover, and
Yeah.
re-download all of those. And I basically tailored all of my profiles to say something along the lines of going on my friend's podcast about dating apps. Don't mind me, just here to gather information. And
Don't mind me, just here for content.
yeah, exactly. And I was basically like, and just kind of matched with people and kind of had conversations, but we'll touch on that later on.
Oh my God, that's actually really funny because we'll get into it, but one of my bios is actually I'm just doing an episode about dating apps on my podcast. Give me some content. And they did. The straight men did not disappoint. So we're just going to get right into it. The prominence of dating apps in this generation. It's frankly just the easiest way to meet people. I mean, it's the ideal form of communication. We're always on our phones as millennials and Gen Z. So it's just the easiest way to have an app that can connect you to people in your same demographic, in your same town, especially during this pandemic. Like, I mean, I personally have no problem meeting somebody the normal way, quote unquote. So like, going to a bar, meeting them at the store. That's kind of hard when everyone's, one, wearing a mask. You don't know what anyone looks like. And two, you can't really go up to people. Like, we're all like 6 feet apart, social distancing, hello. And there's not as many people out. So, dating apps, especially right now, are just kind of, I don't want to say the only way, but it's looking like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the safest way right now. I mean, like you kind of mentioned, even if you are out at a bar somewhere, sometimes, people don't really want to be hit on as is. And it just kind of is an extra level when it's like, okay, wow, not only are you bothering me when I don't want to be bothered, but on top of that, you're also within my 6-foot bubble. So
there's a pandemic happening. You need to go. That's what people
exactly. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, dating apps are really what you kind of have to lean on right now to just kind of get out there and meet people, unless, you're just hanging out, meet through a friend or, meet someone through work. But otherwise, those are really your only two avenues. And
I don't know about you, but that hasn't worked with me because none of my friends are setting me up with cute people. And I'm very sad about it.
Yeah, same here. Most of your friends called me too short. So life goes on.
Yikes. Oh my God. Don't call them out like that, even though, come on, ladies, let's not be shallow. We love short kings. Okay, but each dating app promotes, and it's just funny because each dating app, promotes and prides themselves in their successes to like build relationships. And I don't know, they just all, for me, come out to be complete garbage. Like, I personally think I looked at it. I said this to someone earlier this week. I think in comparison to the people I met on dating apps versus the ones I met in real life, the relationships with the guys I met in real life are just more genuine than the ones I met on dating apps, because it's so hard to build a genuine connection with someone you meet over a screen.
Boy, do I have a statistic for you later on in this episode.
Oh, Daniel did.
That's a little bit of foreshadowing, but yeah, I have a good stat for that. I've also kind of felt the same way, though, is that people who I've met in person and built that genuine, established relationship, that those have been a little bit better relationships, better connections, better friendships. But
oh, for sure. So let's get into our personal experiences with the general dating apps. Scale 1 through 10, Dan, how would you rate your overall success of dating apps? And obviously, like, before you say 1, Davina, I'm single, 0, like, including like your relationships, whether they worked out or not, your friendships, your hookups. Like, the hookups come with fond memories, and stories that you are kind of a little bit glad you had. So what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if 7 is just a reoccurring number here, but I mean, I mean, I would say it's right around a 7, maybe like a 6 or a 7. And it's just because, like you said, the relationships, while yes, they didn't work out in the end, and some of them ended up hurting. Like, I still able to learn from those things. They were still a relationship. They were still good memories that came from it. Obviously, the friendships have kind of been the shining star of it. The people that I have been able to have conversations with, and both of us able to be mature and say, hey, this isn't going to work out on a romantic level, but I still like to be friends, and both of us being able to be like, yeah, I'm cool with being friends. I've made a couple of great friends out of there. The hookups are obviously fun, not really my proudest memories of it, but obviously when you're with your guy as a guy, when you're at the bar shooting the shit with friends, you got to have your few wild stories, your crazy stories. Oh, look at this girl, so I mean, it's helped me there. But I feel like the biggest benefit, and I feel like this is also why a lot of people are on dating apps, is it's been a really good way to kill time.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
When I'm just bored on a car ride, bored, sitting on the couch, bored doing whatever,
Yeah.
like it's a good, swiping or matching or having conversations, really, having those conversations, having someone to talk to, so you're not just sitting around by yourself. I mean, I feel like that's kind of been the biggest thing that's kind of come out of dating apps, is just really keeping me entertained when I really don't have anything else going on, which some people listening to this will probably be like, Dan, learn a new skill. Like, you have a guitar, learn to play more than 2 chords, like.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what it is. Like, for me as a female, I also would say, like, it gives me a little bit of a confidence boost too. Like, when I match with somebody, I'm like, oh damn, well, thank you. Like, whenever I'm feeling like a little down on myself, I find myself going on these dating apps just to like kind of build up my ego. Which
I
I
will
don't
say
know.
there's also the reverse side of that, though, because there's times where I'll be like swiping for like a day and a half, and I get like no matches. It's like,
Nobody.
shit, am I really this ugly?
And then you like reconsider like what pictures you have. You're like, I look good though.
Exactly. Change the picture, change the bio. Like, I mean, dating apps is really just a big old game of marketing. You're marketing yourself, so it's just like, if things aren't going well, you gotta switch it up and
That's
figure
such a
it out.
good way to put it. You're just marketing yourself out there for the world to see, basically. Is there, out of the big 3, has there been one that's been more successful than the others that you've noticed?
God, it's so hard to say. I feel like I have a lot of success on Bumble, if I'm being totally honest.
Really? Okay.
And I think for me is, any girl, obviously on Bumble, a girl has to message first, which we'll get into more later, but a girl messaging me first shows that they have enough interest in me from the get-go to want to start a conversation, at least see where things go. So I feel like, when I'm having that conversation, there, it's good. It's able to naturally flow because, they at least had some level of interest because they sent that conversation. Whereas with Hinge or Tinder, sometimes I'll match people and then I won't hear back from them ever.
Right. Like, it's so annoying when you match with someone and then they don't say anything to you. With Bumble, you kind of almost have to.
Exactly. And I mean, I will admit at the same time, there's been people that message me and I don't respond because, I either swipe too quickly or I swiped when I was bored and I wasn't paying attention. But I typically try, if someone ever sends me a message, I will almost always try to respond to it and at least try to have a conversation, because it does take guts to come up with something, as long as it's something more creative than hey, which again, we'll touch on this more later.
Darn. Yeah, I was about to say, you're about to roast me. But yeah, I completely agree. It's like, I would say more so recently, Bumble's been the most successful for me. But if you were to ask me like a year and a half ago, I would have said Hinge, because I've actually like had relationships off Hinge. And I'm just like, so I was pretty biased on that. So now looking at Bumble now, it's just, the pick of the litter is just better, in my opinion. I don't know. It's just, there's more out there.
Absolutely. I mean, as a guy, I guess I don't really see the, what other the pick of the litter for guys are. But I mean, I know the problem that that Bumble used to have was, it seemed like they had a lot of profiles that weren't being used. So you could swipe for a long time and just never match anybody. And I think they've finally gone through and kind of deactivated some of their inactive users. So there's a lot less of those girls that, clearly haven't been on this app for a while or probably married or something like that.
Dude,
And it seems like everyone that's on the app is actually on the app.
I've literally seen like my guy friends like send me screenshots of girls that I know that I went to high school with that are married, but they have their dating app still up there. So I'm like, wait,
And that's the
that's
thing that's so
crazy.
confusing. I feel like
But
when you delete a dating app, like on your phone, it should delete your account too. Like you shouldn't
I
have to go
know,
back separately.
I know.
But,
I mean, isn't that an indicator enough that you just don't want it? Like, I don't know. Oh God. We're not gonna get too much into this really quickly, but I mean, if I'll ask it, is there any particular like bad date or hookup you've had with somebody that you met on a dating app? Because mine's just my entire dating history, but
yeah, I've had bad dates, where there's just no spark there. But I mean, there hasn't been anything too crazy. I'd say the craziest thing that's happened to me from someone that I've met on a dating app would be, you look like you want to say something.
wait, yeah. Was the girl that fell asleep?
That was the story I was going to.
Yes, I knew it. Do it. Tell it.
Yeah, that girl was from Bumble. So this was like right around the time that I moved to Nashville. I was A lot of these situations are starting at the gym.
I love the story.
But I was at the gym and I matched with this girl on Bumble, and she messaged me and was like, "Hey, we had a conversation. I think it started off talking about friends because I probably responded to whatever she said with a gif of Joey Tribbiani saying, 'How you doing?' But we were talking about friends. We were having a conversation. She was new to Nashville, hadn't been anywhere, and I was like, 'Hey, this is my favorite place so far. I'm still pretty new, but you should definitely check it out. It's a big landmark. If you ever go to Nashville, go to Loveless Cafe. It's fantastic.' She was like, 'I've never been.' So I was like, 'Cool. I'd love to take you there sometime. You're really pretty.' And she was like, 'Well, what are you doing tonight?' And I'm like, 'Absolutely nothing.' So she lived on the east side of Nashville and I live on the west side, and the restaurant's on the west side. Her being like a week's new, had no idea how to get there. She had a car, but she just kind of didn't want to drive that far. I'm like, 'Nope, whatever. That's fine. I'm a guy. I'll drive out there and pick you up.' So
You're so
drive
nice.
out. What?
You're so nice. Like what?
I mean, like I said, this girl was like a 10. Like I was really trying to impress her. So,
Okay, fair.
but anyway, so I drove all the way to East Nashville, picked her up, drove all the way to the west side to have dinner. Had dinner, everything went great. I think we each had a mimosa with dinner for whatever reason. And then no, we had a beer. It was just beer. Just kidding. It was
Good
just
say, bro.
a very fruity beer. I just remember that it was orange. But anyway, so we had dinner. Everything seemed to be going well. And I was like, "Hey, I know there's a football game that you wanted to watch tonight. Did you want me to get you back now?" I'm like, "Or it looks like we still have some times that we go to a bar and, go to another bar." And she's like, "No, like I'd be down to grab another drink." So we went to another bar and we probably had like maybe 2 more beers there, had really good conversations, deep conversations, blah, 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 blah. So we're getting ready. I'm driving her back to her place. And, we passed by my apartment complex and I was just like, "Hey, like just to get a little bit of perspective of how far I drove, like this is where I live."
Mm-hmm.
And it's just silence. I'm like, "Okay, well, that's fine." So I'm driving a little bit further and I say something else and she doesn't respond. And I'm like, so I like look over at her and she's just boom up against my window, passed out. And I'm like, okay, it's been like 3 hours. She's had 3 beers. She ate. So it's not like she is doing this on an empty stomach. My first thought was that she pulled a DeVita and pregame the date.
Let's go, baby.
Like she's like, "Hell, I'm not driving. We're going to do a half bottle of wine prior to everything." But yeah, so I drove all the way to back to her place, helped her out of the car, asked her if she had like all of her stuff. And she's like, "Yeah, I do." Knocked on the door and was like, "Hey, I realize this probably looks terrible. This is what happened. Like, please, let me know that she's sobered up and is doing fine or whatever. There's my contact information. Reach out to me if you have any questions." Drove all the way back to my side of town, turned off the car, the lights come on in my car, and I see that her purse is on the floor of my car. So then I drive all the way back to East Nashville, knock on the door again and say, "Hey, I thought she had everything. She left her purse on the floor of my car. Here's her purse." And yeah, then I drove back. So the date itself wasn't bad. It was just everything that came after that.
And remind me again, did you ever hear from her again?
I mean, she said that she was really embarrassed, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, "Hey, like it's not a big deal to me." But then I didn't really hear too much from her again after that. But
Dude, when you told me that like blew my mind because that's still such a mystery to me. She had to have pre-gamed the date. Had to have. Like, I don't care how much of a lightweight you are. This girl was zonked. She was out of her mind, like passed out, sleeping. Like 3 beers in 3 hours, that's pretty decent, especially for a girl who seemed like pretty down to like get beers and, you know, like watch a sports game and like, you know, she seemed like a get down to the boys type girl.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I saw it too. But yeah, that was what I'd say my worst date was. And again, you know, it wasn't the date itself. It was the person that I met on a dating app.
Well, I wish her the best. Hopefully she doesn't pregame dates anymore because that's risky. I've learned that the hard way too.
Oh, she works at the bar that I used to work at over by my apartment.
Oh,
So now anytime I go there, like I see her and we just don't interact.
Oh no. Oh, and I thought the suburbs of Chicago was small, and then here's Nashville. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't even know what I would do at that point. I'd be like, don't look at me. You saw me fall asleep. I'm embarrassed. Like, I mean, I have plenty of like embarrassing dates and embarrassing hookups, but that would just take up the entire episode. I would need a whole other episode for that. So yeah, I very much enjoy your sleeping girl story though, the sleeping beauty story, and the fact that you drove back to get her purse. What a man.
Yeah, I should have taken a 20 out of it for gas, but
You should just robbed her at that point. I'm just kidding. Okay, so moving forward, we've got our next topic, which is obviously the main subject of this whole thing. I call it the 3 pillars of single because we're sad now. But you know, it's obviously Hinge, Bumble, and Tinder. But let's get down to like kind of the beginning of these dating apps. Why they are named what they are. I don't get it. Like I get Bumble is like, you know, kind of like a bumblebee and you're like, it's like they use it and all this stuff, like creating the buzz type thing. But I really want to discuss like the names of like the other dating apps. So, you know, like
the name of I thought you were gonna say you don't understand the name of Tinder.
I don't know.
Okay, so like it's like, you know, you get like a fire.
Oh,
That's why their logo is fire.
okay, then why is it Hinge?
I don't know, opening doors to new.
Ew, like what? Like a door hinge?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you put a door on your thing for when you match.
Yeah, no, it is a door hinge. Yeah, I get it, but like, why is a door connected to dating apps? I just never understood that, so I was just like, okay, interesting. Maybe there's like reasons behind all that.
But yeah, Tinder, according to Merriam-Webster, is a very flammable substance adaptable for use as kindling. So that's why it's fire, and you're trying to, you know, spark a fire.
You're trying to rub some sticks together? Great.
That's Grindr.
Okay. Yeah, that was what I was about to say. And here we go. But all the other dating apps. So, like, have you used anything outside of the big 3? I think we both joked about joining Match.com. Did we actually do that? I didn't.
I downloaded the free version. I don't know how long ago that was. I want to say it might have been in like early November.
I think I like filled out the survey to like become a member after Carl and I broke up because I was really depressed, but then I deleted it.
Yeah, I mean, I was on there briefly, but otherwise I've also used a long time ago. There's one called Clover, and I used that for a little while, and it was just bad. Maybe like a week I used it.
Interesting.
I used.
Did you ever use Coffee Meets Bagel?
Yeah, I used Coffee Meets Bagel a little bit, and I think I had like one decent conversation off of it. But again, there just wasn't really anything there. And I mean, I guess what that kind of proves is how impressive it was that Hinge was able to kind of break onto the scene, because when I used Coffee Meets Bagel and Plenty of Fish and Clover,
like the other one, yeah.
Like those were at that time, Bumble and Tinder were the only main ones. So Hinge came after all that. I want to say Hinge really started in like 2019, 2018.
Yeah, Hinge is pretty new.
Or not 2019, 2018. God, it's been too long. 2018, 2017-ish area. But.
Yeah. And then there's also like OkCupid, which in itself sounds like you're just giving up on love. So
OkCupid, just give me
OkCupid, just fucking do your thing. I can't anymore.
Give me a 3 and we'll just call it a day. Like
OkCupid, you take your shot. That's all it is. Okay, but no, I've never used anything other than like the big 3 seriously, you know. Have you even attempted Facebook dating? I won't, just because I'm scared, but like, what the fuck is that?
I think I did, again, briefly, just because I was kind of curious to see, like, what exactly it was, if it had any cool features or anything like that. And I mean, the only thing that was kind of cool about it was if you had any mutual friends, you know, you could see it. But do you
Yeah.
remember back in the day on Tinder when you used to be able to see when you had mutual
Yeah.
friends?
Dude,
I
that's
don't know
how
why
I
they took that
found.
away.
That's how I found all of my dating That's how I found all of my Tinder matches on Facebook, because I
Yeah.
was like, okay, they're mutual friends with this person. Like, I'll just search their name in my mutual friends friend book because I'm psycho, and there we go.
Well, I mean, exactly. And it's just like, I don't know when that got taken away or why it got taken away.
But like, it was really helpful because I was able to learn more about the people I was matching with to see if I wanted to pursue anything with them.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm not sure why that got taken away, but yeah, no, I really haven't found much success on any other apps, and definitely
I'm just
not
failing all of them,
Facebook.
honestly. It's just awful. So we're gonna start off, first things first, with Hinge. And I'd like to call Hinge the LinkedIn of dating apps, because you gotta be professional on that shit. You gotta know what you want, in my opinion. We call it the one for dating. And I would still say that still stands, like it's still the one for dating.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. You know, I mean, especially since, you know, they have the prompts, you know, they have the little tags that you can add to photos. They have more questions as to, you know, like, what are you looking for? Things along those lines. I feel like they have a pretty well-rounded platform to start conversations, you know.
Oh,
Instead of swiping left or right, you have to kind of either like a photo or like a prompt or respond to a photo or respond to a prompt.
yeah.
And I feel like rather than just having the swipe right, swipe left, I feel like that's a really good way to ignite conversation off the bat rather than, you know, the other two.
Absolutely. What I like the most about Hinge that kind of separates itself is the ability to select specific preferences. So I have a very specific type. So I made the preference so it's like that type. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you can like add deal breaker on there too, but
Yeah.
a lot
Like,
of them are like now they're charging. I remember when Hinge first started, like you could do just about anything and it would be and you could do all those preferences and it was awesome because yeah, I mean, I could be like, okay, yeah, you know, I want someone who's around this height, you know, which I told people not to be hypocritical about height, but whatever. You know,
I mean, there's some people that have like, their little preference, but yeah.
yeah, you know, looking for, you know, another Catholic, so I'm Catholic, you know, looking for this kind of politics, not a smoker, you know, different things along those lines. But
Mhm.
now the only things that you get for free are age, distance, ethnicity, which I feel like that should, with everything that's going on in this country, I feel like you shouldn't be able to pick the ethnicity for
No,
free.
no. Wait, what the hell?
like, why are we allowing that?
Wait, that's like not okay.
I know. Like, why is
Like
that one
for free,
free?
we're only able to pick one race. That's terrible.
I have to pay for politics, but if I don't want to date a specific race, it's free. It's almost 2021. I mean,
Like, let's calm down here, Hinge. Let's get that fixed. Like, do you have to pay for height? No, right?
no, you have to pay for height.
Oh my god, I'd rather pay for height.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
rather
what,
have
like,
height be free.
yeah, height would I'd rather be free. If they're open to children, if they want
Yes,
a
that's
family,
important.
education level, like, and I get it. You got to make a buck, and I mean, but yeah, that's most of the stuff costs now.
Yeah. No, I absolutely. I didn't know. I didn't realize that ethnicity was free.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I literally pulled it up. I got Hinge in front of me right now.
Oh my
So
goodness. I mean, my specific type was just like in my age range, so that's what I have. I don't want like freaking like children popping up and being like, "Oh, hey." Like, no, I'm good. But I don't know. I think Hinge just has less of a stigma when it comes to hooking up. Like, I feel like if you're on there to like really expand your horizons. At least
I
those
feel like
people.
everyone that's on Hinge is at least open to a relationship. They might
Yeah,
not be actively pursuing one, but if you're on Hinge, you're at least open to finding a good connection.
I agree. And then which that leads us to Bumble, the one for friendships, which I still think stands. Even though Dan and I met on Tinder, we both agree that Bumble's kind of the one for friendships, just based on the fact that there's literally a sub app for Bumble called Bumble BFF. Like,
Exactly.
that's literally a thing, and I love it. Like, I will never get over the fact that my friend, when I went away to college, like she downloaded Bumble BFF to just find like a drinking buddy. And that's what Alina actually got when she moved to DC. She downloaded Bumble BFF to just try to make friends over in DC.
Yeah, I mean, Bumble BFF. I actually know some people in Nashville that are like, yeah, I actually met my roommate through Bumble BFF because I knew I was moving here and I was just trying to find a place to live, and just kind of put that in my bio and tried to find people who were looking for roommates. So
Yeah.
that's a nice feature about Bumble. I mean, I don't know any guys that use it.
Yeah.
I've never once met a guy that uses it, but for girls, if you're looking to make friends, I know a few people who have actually made pretty solid friends through Bumble BFF.
Exactly. It's just a good way to make connections. And I also like the fact that like, Bumble sets the tone. Like the tone is set, but like when you're on Bumble, the female sets the tone of how the relationship's going to go. So it's never too like, it strays away from like the overly aggressive communication that I feel like more so nowadays comes a lot from men.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Like,
But so like,
She Rates Dogs is popular for a reason.
She Rates Dogs is amazing. And I know it's like a lot of guys' goals to get on that thing, but like fucking stop, please. Like it's too much. We're just gonna roast you. But it's very rare, at least I've never seen it, that a girl would come at a guy on a dating app message with something super like aggressive like that,
Yeah, the most aggressive I think I've ever gotten as like a message sent to me on Bumble
Oh,
was
okay.
a girl. Well, she just like straight up asked, like, "Are you a boobs guy or an ass guy?" And I'm like,
Nice.
"Oh wow." I was like, and I was just kind of like, fortunately for her, I guess you could say, this was at a point where I wasn't really looking for anything super serious. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's dive right into this conversation.
Objectify her, do it.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even like objectifying her. It's just, what's your personal preference? And, so I mean.
I know, yeah, but yeah, that's awesome that she did that. Like there's a difference between like being aggressive, and I feel like that was just confident from her. Like she just wanted to know. Like she wasn't afraid of asking, and she just did it.
I mean, it got a conversation started too, so.
Yeah. So guys also sometimes I've noticed they like the shock factor when a girl is like when a girl shocks you at the beginning of a conversation, they're just like, whoa, that's like way different than a normal girl that would just be like, hey. So they're kind of into that. So I'm like, I'm like all for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but typically Bumble's just been better for me in regards to like the people I've met on there. Like my really good friend Nate, I dated him for a little bit, and now we're like really good friends. We met on Bumble. It's just such I just feel like it's just a less of a stigma, less of a pressure on Bumble than it is on Tinder.
I would say it's less of a pressure than both of them. And I think that's part of it is technically not everyone you match on Bumble is going to be your friend.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot more quality conversations, I think, on Bumble. Because on Hinge, you have the pressure because, people on Hinge are looking for that relationship.
Absolutely.
On Tinder, people are probably looking for hooking up or something along those lines. Or you really don't know how to test the waters of, is this someone who's actually looking for something serious and don't know where they are? Or is this someone who's looking for something to hook up? So you got that, a little bit of miscommunication. I feel like Bumble's the dating app that does it best in the sense of you can actually just have a conversation without really knowing which direction it's going to go. So I feel like that's really how it ties into, why it's the one for friendships, because you're really going to have a lot of good quality conversations. And if you did keep up and you wanted to have 2,000 friends, you probably could make 2,000 friends on Bumble.
Absolutely.
Just by keeping up with people.
Like, honestly, Bumble could down the line turn into just a social media account.
Absolutely. And I will say this about Bumble too before we move on to Tinder is it's a shout out to them for seeing what Hinge did right with the prompts.
I loved that they did that.
And adding it.
Yeah. I loved how they just added like the good part of Hinge and just kept its like Bumble aesthetic and just added to the format. So I thought that was really smart of them.
Absolutely.
So, and then last but not least, Tinder will always be the one for fucking. It is forever and always. Like nothing can take that stigma away. Like I think it's because Tinder's like the OG dating app.
I mean, and it is. I mean, I think when dating apps first started, it was, and I don't really know how to properly word this, but it's like, wow, I can meet a girl. And I guess it's the guys who are good at going to bars and were able to talk or parties and talk to girls and get them to come back with them. Like those guys now had the access of doing that without having to leave their house.
Yes.
You know, they were able to just do that and go meet up with people. And the girls that were going to parties and going to bars looking to hook up with guys, same thing with them. You know, they didn't have to put their makeup and shit on. They could just sit on their couch, have a good conversation over the phone, and then be like, oh shit, okay, do you want to come over? Put on minimum makeup, put on some leggings, and, you know.
Leggings and a sweatshirt.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, that's plenty, you know, that's going to be enough for someone to be like, yeah, that's a girl who I matched with. And, you know, I feel like that's really why it became the dating app. I'm sure it wasn't intended to be for hookups, but since it made hookups so easy, that's how it kind of gained that stigma.
Absolutely. I'm sure the creators of Tinder weren't sitting there thinking, oh yeah, we're going to make a lot of fucking 20-year-olds, horny 20-year-olds just hook up with each other constantly and procreate. I'm sure that wasn't their intention. I'm sure the creators of Tinder wanted to be like, no, we're here to find people's soulmates, quote unquote, you know? But that's just how our generation turned it into.
Oh, I'm sure now they're just sitting in their golden hot tubs. Like, yeah, who cares if they're fucking?
Like, we're the creators of Tinder. Y'all can't touch me. We have money.
Like, yeah, you know, we wanted people to find love, but if you guys just want to fuck, go for it. Like,
I love that for you.
Each time you guys do it, it's just more money in our pocket. Now that they're selling ads too, like those guys are swimming in it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even though they are swimming in it though, for some reason, like, I think this just comes from people I like have conversations with. They don't use Tinder as much. Like, I remember when I got out of one of my relationships, I downloaded Hinge and Bumble, but not Tinder, because I didn't want just a hookup type thing. So I think the people that are actually really looking for something serious kind of avoid Tinder just because of the stigma.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it's even like when you're talking to somebody, you know, like you might have a little bit more confidence saying like, oh, how'd you guys meet? We met on Hinge, we met on Bumble. But if you met on Tinder, you're typically trying to.
You're disgusting.
You either gotta justify it with, yeah, we met on Tinder, but like, you know, we went on a date and we still haven't done anything yet. Or, you know, like, yeah, we met on Tinder, but we were both genuinely looking for something. Like, there's got to be we met on here, and you can't just leave it at that.
Yeah, you're almost more embarrassed. You're just embarrassed to say, oh yeah, we met on Tinder. Like, even though it's been a success story for a lot of relationships, but a lot of people still like mix up their story. They're like, oh yeah, no, we met here, when in reality you met on Tinder.
Oh, exactly. And like you said, it just all comes back down to the stigma, because when the dating app started, like obviously we said, you know, it was for hooking up. And even though there's plenty of people who've gotten great relationships out of it, and I'd even say that even though less people on there probably are looking to hook up, it's just got that stigma behind it. And if you are just looking for someone to hook up with, it's probably your best bet, because that's probably what people are at least expecting when they match somebody on there.
Absolutely.
Oh, and if you're on Tinder and you're saying in your bio, not here to hook up, download Bumble, download Hinge, download Match. Don't waste your time.
If you say on Tinder, not here to hook up, you're a fool, because that's what you're going to get. Like, that, then you're in the wrong place, sweetie.
Exactly.
Definitely the wrong place. So, since we got that out of the way, now we're going to break down the sciences. Break down the science of dating apps. This is solely based on, like, you know, observation and experience. But, you know, I was never good at science, so here I am, you know, sucking at dating apps. But at least I feel like I got the science down. I don't know about you, Dan, but I think I got it pretty squared away.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say definitely know how to navigate it, you know. I mean,
it's like another language. I'm pretty much fluent in dating apps at this point, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like at this point it's the same as knowing how to operate a piece of machinery. I mean, you know, if something goes wrong, you do this. If something goes right, you do this. If you want more results, you do this rather than this. Like, I mean, it really has come down to that, where you know it like a science.
It's always like our people skills too. Like, it's just like, okay, if we handle this conversation like this is how they're going to reciprocate towards it. So, done and done. Bios, conversations, and pictures is something I learned. So bios, conversations, pictures can't all be the same on each dating app. Because there's a science. You got to strategically mold your life and how you talk to people based on each dating app you're using. So I went through my dating apps one night, and I don't know, I was up till like 3 a.m. looking at all 3 of them for no reason. I was like, it's kind of interesting how I put specific pictures in one and not the other. And then I say certain things in one, but like not the others, just because of the stigmas that they all, represent. So we're going to talk about those. Hinge. I feel like conversations are just like more structured. Like you have to seem to care or want to know what the person has on their profile. You want to care about that, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of, Hinge obviously is the majority guys messaging first, I would say. I do get the occasional first message or the first prompt or something along those lines. But, the thing that's nice about Hinge is having those, like I said, it's not swipe right or swipe left in order to match people,
Yeah.
If you're really getting lazy, you can obviously just like a photo or like a prompt and just leave it at that. But the thing that's nice about it is, it does have that comment box that comes up. And, it really does encourage you to be like, okay, don't just say in this picture, yeah, that you're pretty,
Yeah.
It gives you the opportunity to see something along the lines of like, oh, 2 truths and a lie. Let me take a guess.
Yeah. And then the conversation flows from there.
Exactly.
Yeah. But so the conversations definitely like have to have like a strong foundation. You have to build a foundation, like some type of foundation to really, get it started. Because like you said, I'm not going to respond to like, I don't know, me as a female, when guys just like kind of like something and have nothing to say about it, I don't feel the need to match with them. But if they comment on it, if they like start a foundation for a conversation that we could have, then I'm more likely to respond and match with them, regardless of what he looks like, regardless of what he does,
Yeah, and I'd say the only time personally I ever do just likes is when either people don't use the prompts on Hinge, which again, if you're not going to use prompts while you're on Hinge.
Wrong.
Exactly. And the other time I do it is if people just don't really have prompts that are all that great, but I still find them attractive because it's like, okay, I don't really feel confident in any of your prompts, but I still want to at least give this a shot. So I'll just like something and see if, maybe you'll see something in my bio that will make you start a conversation, or they'll just match and, I can go into the typical Tinder or Bumble pickup lines, and just being like having the typical start off conversation. But again, that just kind of goes back to Hinge, where they really make you have to work hard to get to the point of having basic ass conversations. Like they try to make it easy to have the good conversations.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, overall conversations are just, you kind of like, you got to be a good conversationalist to have a Hinge basically. So props to you. I can't tell you how many times I've had like boring ass conversations on Hinge and I'm just like, you're on the wrong dating app, buddy. Like, what are you doing here? Like, I don't claim you here. I don't want to talk to you here. So I don't know. Pictures are on the same wavelength though too. Pictures, I feel like I mentioned earlier, Hinge is the LinkedIn of dating apps. Pictures, you want your LinkedIn profile picture on a Hinge. Like, for example, that's the type of aesthetic we're kind of looking for on Hinge as a female.
I don't want my LinkedIn profile picture.
Okay, not exactly your LinkedIn profile picture, I guess, but more so just like pictures that really represent like what you do and how you are as a person. I don't want to see your party pics from college or your prom pics or pictures of you and your fish or pictures of you and your niece. Like I want to see like, what you do, what you do to make you the person that you are.
Absolutely. And I'd say like on top of that, you want pictures that, really show who you are as a person, who you would be as a boyfriend, what your life might look like if you're with that person. Yes. So I feel like that's really a good thing. And I personally don't have mine linked, so I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, but I really like it when girls have their Instagram linked to it too.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure how many guys typically do have it linked because I can obviously only see girls.
That's a good point, actually. I like when they're linked too.
Because it's just like, okay, I see the pictures that you're putting forward on here, but then I can also see what posts you're putting forward to people who have either already matched you or people that you're friends with from high school, family, things along those lines. So you kind of get a little bit more of an insight. So that definitely always helps out the cause.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just more attracted to pictures on there that make you look like social, adventurous, and presentable, but also at the same time, like approachable, established, and a little polished,
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know, like you wouldn't put like a really like ladies would probably put like their most modest photos out there to make them look like quote unquote wifey material type,
I'm just gonna quickly do a random person. We're gonna pull up the first bio that comes up.
Ooh, okay.
All right. So we got Maggie.
Love that for her. Okay.
Yeah. So she's got an artsy picture that at like a pumpkin patch. So that's pretty good. A selfie with her and a friend. Picture with her dog. What's that stupid bar that's also in Chicago that there's in Nashville that has like the sign that says like rose all day? It's like up against a green ivy backdrop, and it's
Man,
in,
why are you hating on Hampton Social like that?
Hampton Social. Yeah, so stereotypical picture like that,
Okay.
a hiking picture, and then a picture of her at an Eagles game. So I mean, yeah, I would say that really fits into the mold, and that's like literally the next one I pulled up, and yeah, that literally fits into the mold of what we're looking for. I see that she's, enjoys going to sporting events. Will probably drag me to a bougie bar, like Hampton Social. Likes dogs. Enjoys going on like fall dates type of things. And I mean, like I said, I didn't even touch on the prompts. This is all just stuff that I'm gathering just from the photos. So
Yeah. So I just matched with a guy today. His name's Gunner. Interesting, right? And I thought his profile was actually pretty solid too. Like
you pull up his profile picture just because he lives close enough that you could be this kid that I freaking hate from Chicago, and I just want to make sure it's not him.
Yeah.
No, it's not him.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's not him. I hope so. But, there's like, a picture of him that makes his like face look good. He's looking over and he has like his sunglasses on. I'm like, okay, nice side profile. There's a picture of him on a boat on the lake, so with a beer in his hand. So that's always approachable and nice. There's a picture of him at a wedding, which wedding pictures are great to put on dating profiles just because like every girl wants a fun wedding date,
Is he shirtless in the boat pic?
Yes.
A lot of girls say don't go shirtless in a picture on a
really
date, especially Hinge.
Okay, I mean, I don't mind it, but I do see girls saying, maybe.
I'm sure it's more so mirror selfies or gym selfies that they're talking about. Yeah. But I see a lot of bios that girls will say something like, if I see a shirtless pic, I'm swiping left.
Dude, shirtless pics and mirror shirtless pics are for Tinder. If that's on Hinge, get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no. And then there's another picture of, him with a couple friends, but I can tell because it's like the fourth picture, so I could kind of gather what he looks like, so I can tell which one he is in a group photo. The problem is when you put a group photo as your first photo, I don't even bother on swiping, like, down or up. Like, I'll just swipe left immediately if your first picture is a group picture. And then, one of him with his family, and then another one of him shotgunning on a boat in Chicago, which is feeling nice. I love that.
You shirtless again?
No, he's wearing a tank.
Okay, I was about to say I think this is actually a really bad example, but okay.
He's wearing a tank. No, I made sure. I was like, not enough. Not many shirt pics there. So, we got that, and then. Yeah, I agree. When their Instagram is linked, but the problem is a lot of people don't have their Instagram like public, so that's kind of a.
But the thing that's nice is even if it's not public, you can see the pictures while you're on Hinge.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can't like figure out what their bio is, but you can at least see more photos, and then obviously from there you can go swipe them or match them if you want to, or add them, whatever word I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's basically Hinge. I don't know. I had better experiences on Hinge. Back in the day when I was, dating the guy I met from Hinge, but, it hasn't really done much for me since, so I'm just kind of like, whatever about it. All right. Next, we got Bumble. I don't know. Bumble's conversations are always, as we said, started by the female. I don't really give a fuck anymore about dating. I'm kind of at that point, so what I've been doing is just doing the wave emoji. I've thought of some really good pickup lines, but I just don't want to use them. Did I tell you about my really good pickup line that I used?
No, I'll be happy to hear it, and I'll also give you some more from once we get down to my data, the data that I gathered. You can start using the ones that I took from them. But yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. I can't even say it with a straight face. Are you here window shopping, or are you looking to take something home?
Haha.
Right? Isn't that good? Like, wouldn't you actually, like, respond to a girl if she said that?
Yes, but I also think I'd have to really think through what I say.
Okay, yeah, because I've gotten a lot of responses being like, oh yeah, how could I get a premium package, or like how could I get a deal set up?
Yeah, I will say, or like,
Like
yeah,
I'm gonna start being treated like an object real quick if I like really continue on with that.
you need to put it like take home to mom in parentheses. like
Take home to daddy, shipped to daddy.
yeah, are you window shopping or looking for something to take home to mom, not to your bed? Like,
Yikes. that's
I don't know. When I hear that, that would kind of fall into the category of girls that and again, I'll touch on this more later. You'll probably have to crop out the amount of times I'm saying I'll touch on this more later. But yeah, I mean, we'll touch on it more later. The type of girl that is actually looking for a hookup, but doesn't want to openly come out and say it. What you just said to me, that's the vibe that I would get. Is this the girl that's like, because she made a reference to, oh, taking you home? Okay, like.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say, some of those pickup lines that I find like as a female, some of the ones that I use are super cringy. That's why I don't use them. I just literally just do the little wave emoji because I don't care anymore. And action. Anyways, yeah, where were we? Yeah, I mean, Bumble's conversations in itself are just so like it's the foundation by the female. So Dan, tell me some prime pickup lines females have used on you.
I mean, I feel like a lot of them are really just kind of, hey. I mean, girls really aren't creative. I mean,
hey, yes, we all kind of. Okay, you're right.
I mean, there's sometimes where the thing that's crazy is I feel like the best conversations I've actually been having on Bumble are since I tricked out my profile to say that I'm just trying to get information for this podcast.
Yeah.
Because girls are really latching onto that and being like, hey, like what kind of questions you want to know? And it's like, it's honestly becoming a conversation piece. And I admit, I never used the prompts on Bumble prior to this because I was like, okay, if I'm going to use prompts, I'm going to do it on Hinge.
Right.
So I never really did it. But so for the most part, I was just getting a lot of haze, an occasional GIF, occasional compliment for my eyes. Like otherwise, it was nothing really over the top. And then obviously, like I said, there's that one girl that asked me what my preference was. But
yeah,
I mean, like I said, again, later on, I'll talk about what other girls say their go-to pickup line is. But yeah, for the most part, I just get a lot of haze and a lot of gifts.
Yeah. I mean, I just recently changed my bio on Bumble, and it was just, anybody want to go to a Christmas pop-up bar in the city? I'm bored of shit over here. Straightforward. I don't even care. Someone take me to a pop-up bar. That's what I want. A
those legal? Those can't be legal in Chicago, can they?
They're open. It's crazy.
So Maggie Miley's had to close, but a pop-up bar can happen? All right.
Justice for Maggie Miley's. I know, dude. I know.
Rest in peace, Maggie Miley. Shit.
I know. Don't make me cry. It's too soon.
The owner was just such a good guy, too. It's rough.
Stop it. I miss Peter.
Anyway.
Anyways, sorry, we got sad there. So, I don't know. I feel like, personally, I've noticed this. Old school Bumble was like teetering more on the Tinder scale, and then as the geniuses that they are, the creators of Bumble were just like, nope, we got to include these prompts. So I think including the prompts, honestly, helped a lot of conversation because I feel like females were getting stuck on what to talk about. So adding the prompts gave it more like, okay, I could talk about this because this is what he mentioned in his prompt.
I feel like my experience with old school Bumble was those were the girls that never got messages on Tinder.
Oh.
The girls that were messaging on Bumble were the girls that didn't get pickup lines sent to on Tinder, or they got sick of getting nasty pickup lines on Tinder, and they're like, I want to start the conversation. And that was kind of the type of vibe that I got from old school Bumble.
Absolutely. Honestly, my experience too, though, the guys I find on Bumble are like the best looking. I don't know what it is, but I just find like the most attractive like males on Bumble. And it's like, why is that?
I would guess that it probably, and like, so this is 100% speculation, but I feel like it's got to be a lot of the guys that maybe aren't the best at coming up with pickup lines. They're not the douchebags at the bar, but they're still solid looking guys.
Yeah.
That are waiting for.
Sevens just like us.
Yeah, I mean, they're just looking for someone in general. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, yeah, I'm not going to be the one, like, I'm not good at prompting the conversation, but if you prompt me, I can have a conversation. So
Definitely.
I think that might be part of it. That's just speculation.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. So that you make a lot of sense there. Um, and then we're going on to like pictures on Bumble. So I think those are a fair mix of, like the serious and the slutty and the social. So kind of like the personality pics that you'd find on Hinge, but also like you can throw in, a couple pictures of you like chugging a margarita and people think it's chill.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just kind of goes back to what we discussed earlier, where, with Bumble, there's such a wide variety. Like, Bumble's kind of the all-encompassed conversation where you can just kind of have conversations. So I feel like it really can go anywhere on the scale. If you're on Bumble and you're looking for a hookup, you can make your bio say hookup like that, and
Yeah.
you can be on Bumble because you want to be the one in control. And if you want to be there for a serious relationship, same thing. You can make it look just like Hinge, but on Bumble, that way, you're the only one who can send a first message. So, I mean, I feel like, and that's why, again, full circle back around, that's why people are having such better conversations on Bumble, because it really is the full end of the spectrum, because you can't really go into it expecting one thing or the other.
It's full femme control and I love it.
Exactly. Feminist power.
Amazing. Yeah, so that's kind of why I think I like Bumble the most, actually, just because I personally also think it's the easiest one to use. It's the easiest one to navigate. But
I miss you have to pay for going back now.
when you could just like shake it if you
Yeah,
like,
that was the best.
that was
And
awesome. Because it happened to me the other day. I like accidentally swiped left. I had like a little brain fart. Swiped left on a guy who was actually
left
really
30
hot.
times in a row, and then 31 comes around, and you're like, crap.
Right, like you're playing Bumble 500. It's like, oh wait, shit, that guy was actually attractive. Go back. Like, I got too excited, but I wish they when they got rid of that, I was really upset. I was like, that
You
was.
can still have it. You just gotta pay for it.
I will never pay for a dating app, bro. I can't.
We'll touch on that in my questions.
That's how you know I've lost control of my life, if I'm paying to use a dating app.
Did you look at the questions I sent you that I asked or no?
No, not yet.
All right, cool. Well, the way that we'll actually go through that then is I'll probably just ask you the question.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you, and then I'll lead.
Okay.
And then I'll go from there and kind of
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So, cool. But
cool. Okay, so the next one, Tinder, obviously. Tinder's conversations are just, you could get laid off a fucking exclamation point at that point, let's be honest. Conversations are straight to the point. Like, what you looking for on here?
oh yeah, that's a common used one. Hey, so what brings you to Tinder?
Well, what brings you to Tinder? Like, what are you looking for on here? The reason I have a friends with benefits right now is because he was just like, what you looking for on here? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just kind of here. And he was like, I'm looking for more of a friends with benefits type thing. And I was like, cool, that's fine. So here we are. I'm like, it's done, it's easy, it's simple. Like, there's no like, there's no like waltzing around the conversation. Like, okay, so where'd you go to school? What'd you do for work? Like, let's talk about all that when we actually meet before you rail me. How's that?
Exactly. Or in between rounds or something along those lines.
Yeah, literally that's what happened. I remember I'll just tell you. I'm just like chilling, with this guy that I'm like sleeping with, and he was just like, so where'd you go to school? And I was like, ISU. He was like, oh wait, me too. I was like, no way. So we just talked about ISU for like 30 minutes in between rounds. It was great.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that, the reason you're able to get straight to those conversations, it just kind of goes back to that whole stigma thing is, since everyone already feels the stigma in that conversation, unless you're one of the few idiots that are on there expecting to find true love.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But I mean, I actually do have friends who are now married who met their girlfriends on Tinder when they were both just looking to hook up. And, they hooked up, and I guess it was just so good, and they had such a good personality that it ended up becoming more. So, I mean,
things happen. It happens like that. Like, the world works in crazy ways like that. So
crazier things have happened.
Like you're not expecting it, and then all of a sudden you're marrying the person you met on Tinder. But I would also say, so pictures on Tinder, those are the ones where you put pictures of you shirtless in the mirror. bottom line. Like that's
thirst trap pictures.
That's just where it's welcome. That's the only place it's welcome, Tinder.
Exactly. It's thirst traps. You know, you want people to look at this and be like, okay, this person's hot, because there's no prompts. There's a bio, you know?
Yeah.
And they've started adding those things at the bottom where it's like, what are 5 things that I'm passionate about or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I was like, stop doing that. Don't do that. Like, we're not here for that.
Yeah, otherwise, no. I mean, you really are. Tinder is the most visual of the dating apps, where you're basically just going to look through the pictures, and if you want to, if you really need extra convincing, you can look through the bio. But
you don't need to read the bio, though. Let's be honest, you're looking at the photos. Although I did just look at my bio, and it literally says, "Hi, boys, who's down to give me content for my podcast?" So that's great. That's fun. But pictures are, honestly, more so, I was looking at them, and they are mostly from my college days.
I'm curious. I have like a big 3 photos. Like there's 3 photos that I like how I look at them so much. They're on all 3 of mine.
Is just by curiosity, is one of those photos the one that we took at that wedding?
No. Oh my God, I forgot about that one. That one's been canned. I like to keep them updated.
How dare you?
I like to keep them updated. That was like 2017, 2018.
That was like 18. We kind of look the same.
I mean, I'm sure I do still look the same.
I still use it.
Yeah, I mean, I like that picture, but no, the big 3 that I have is one from Ben's wedding, the one of me and Taylor at Pub 2, actually, and then there's a picture of me with a drink at Disney. And
nice.
I'm jacked, and that's why it's on there.
Yeah, mine are just, I think I have alcohol in about 5 out of my 7 photos, and my tits are out in about 4 of them. So who wins here? Honestly, that's kind of what you got to do at that point. Like, Tinder is Tinder. I
mean, and guys are guys. This is going to be for any dating app. And I mean, if you don't want guys to just see that, like, then obviously, you know, post photos of yourself covered up. But if you're on a dating app and you're trying to get anything to catch a guy's eye, it never hurts to have one photo where they're going to stop and scroll back and think, damn. Because if it's one of your 6 photos, no one's going to look at it. No guy's going to look at it and think, oh, yeah, this girl's just here for sleeping around.
Right.
But they're going to see that photo and be like, okay, so not only did she have this awesome prompt about how she's close to her family, she had an awesome prompt about how she's the one who orders tequila shots at a bar. You know, how she had another awesome prompt for this. And then on top of these awesome prompts, shit, she's got a rack. Like, this is
she has some boobs.
It doesn't hurt to have that extra. Like, again, you don't want to have all of your photos be that unless you're on Tinder. But even when you're on the other dating apps, having one on there so a guy understands your body. If sex matters to you in a relationship, no matter if you're looking for a relationship or something casual, it never hurts to let them know ahead of time, because most, even good guys, are still going to want to be like, dang, okay, that's good to know. That's valuable information.
Yeah, it's all about the communication too, and how you're communicating what you want out of each dating app. So not everyone is going to be looking for the same thing. So there's a lot of conversation that has to go into the fact, like, okay, so what are you here looking for? If you're looking for if you're looking for my body, then here you go, here it is. But if you're looking for an actual established relationship, then here you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, pictures on Tinder are I've just seen so many things on Tinder that are just like, what are you're really okay putting that on the internet? But like, good on you guys. Like, good on you for putting stuff out there for people to see. The confidence, I could never. But proud of you. I remember talking to this one guy I hooked up with once, and he was just like, yeah, I don't use Tinder. It's too gross. Girls are too gross on there. I'm like, okay, but they're on there, and they're clearly, like, successful on it. Because, sorry that they didn't, like, entice you, but they're enticing others, so I don't think they're worried about you.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
You want to use photos where basically both male and female, you want to use photos that basically see where you feel the prettiest or feel the most attractive. Basically, you want to pick photos that say, rail me on your forehead. Like, that's what I see it as. Like, do you look at a picture and you think, I'd fuck me? Like, that's the type of confidence you need to have.
On your Tinder photos?
Yeah, your Tinder photos literally need to have the whole, like, yeah, you feel good, like, looking at yourself, like, going through it. You're like, yeah, I'd braille me.
Fair enough.
That's me. But it's just strange to see, like, a professional-ish photo on a Tinder, especially if, like you doing, like, the good for humanity. I don't want to see you do the good for humanity on Tinder. On Hinge, that's fine. Not on Tinder. Know your place.
I agree 100%. I'm not going to put I'm not putting my LinkedIn profile on anything because, like I said, I'm
a professional.
Suit and tie, like, I don't know. If that's something that turns on a girl, great. I'll let you find that out once we're actually in a relationship. But
right. But, like, no stranger on the internet needs to see that yet. Yeah. But yeah, those are the big three. Now we're actually going to talk about something Dan randomly you texted me, and I thought it was just such a genius idea. Why don't you take the floor on this?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, you said you wanted to. I had been off of dating apps for maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks, and you texted me about doing the podcast. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna be doing and we knew that we were gonna be doing it in mid-December, and this was probably early November. So I was like, okay, like, I got to refamiliarize myself with them. I mean,
I got to create some content. Yes.
I already know them like the back of my hand, but I wanted to refamiliarize myself with them and kind of just ask people questions and just kind of see how other people view dating apps. Because I mean, I could have done a 60-minute podcast monologue of what me and Davita think, because Davita and I talk about our dating app experience enough. Yes. But I kind of want to see how other girls handled, like, dating apps and how they kind of saw things. So I tricked out all of my dating apps to just basically say, like, hey, I'm here to gather information for a podcast. I'm going to quickly pull up my Bumble profile because that's one that actually has prompts and stuff like that. So just quickly do a read through that. So says, don't mind me, just gathering data for my friend's podcast. Got my photos that I already had on there. And for the prompts, it says swipe right. Oh my God. Swipe right if you want to give me your thoughts on dating apps and answer some questions I have.
Amazing. Okay.
I'm hoping you ... will help me gather some data for this podcast.
Okay, I love it. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so those were my 2 prompts. And I got a lot of conversations started with girls being, especially on Bumble. I had a couple from Tinder. I had a few from Hinge, but I probably had close to 20 or 30 girls from Bumble.
Nice.
Give me feedback. So cool. So my first question, so I'll ask this to you, Davita. That way you can answer them as if it was a match. My first question is, what is your go-to pickup line? Which I guess you already answered. Is just the
me waving. I don't know. I mean, I could get creative if, like, they actually, like, give me something, like, good that I could talk about. But my go-to pickup line is just a wave. I don't know. I don't know many girls that have, like, an actual, like, go-to pickup line. I think those are, like, a little overdone.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what I found. So
wait, hold on. I'll cut this out. Sabrina, what's yours?
Mine's, damn boy, are you suicide? Because I'm trying to commit to you.
Yikes.
I am not okay. Thank you, Davita. Or I'm like, will you take me to White Castle?
Or I'm like, can you do
and shove the crave case in me?
Oh, that's amazing.
That's what we're getting on the way home. Crate.
Oh, we're getting the crate?
We're getting the crate.
Oh, shit.
We're not going to eat it all.
We're really depressed, huh?
Oh my God. Okay. Okay, yeah, open that real quick, and then I'm going to pretend I'm going to talk about Sabrina. So actually, I do have a friend who, this is really dark, she hits guys with the, are you damn boy, are you suicide or suicidal? Because I'm trying to commit to you. I was like, so, it depends on the girl, man. It really does. It depends on the girl's, like, thought process, on their sense of humor. Whatever works best for them.
Yeah, I didn't get any of those. I guess if Sabrina and I came across each other, we wouldn't have matched. No offense, Sabrina, but I just didn't get any of that. So the most popular answer I actually got was kind of what you touched on. Am I about to get, like, a middle finger or something?
No, she just drops her jaw.
I'm sorry.
They're on the swipe button. It says do a super like so this person gets your attention. So
Thanks.
I'm lovable.
I'm
Yes,
sure you are. You seem great.
Yeah, whatever. Shut up.
Anyways, so what pickup lines have girls hit you with?
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, for the most part, like I said, it's just a question, same question I asked you. So the majority of people responded, personalized based on the profile, which I think is the right answer, especially, guys, girls, whichever app you're on. I think it never hurts to try to do something straight from their profile.
Yeah.
Another one that I got was sending a GIF. This was a lot of Hinge girls. So
Standard, yeah.
a lot of specifically Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell, like her wave.
Nice.
People specifically said that's the gift that they send.
Nice.
I got a few just, hey, what's up, as their answer, which I'll touch on a little bit more later. And then one girl, actually, I think it's just this morning, she actually messaged me this or said this to me. She was like, her go-to is, are you made out of grapes? Because damn, you're as fine as wine.
What the fuck?
And I was like, and I was just kind of like looking at it. I'm like, okay, well, it's different.
It's different than a hey, I'll give her that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was kind of the whole thing there. So now my follow-up question to that is, which will go back to your waving thing, is if you were to receive this as a first message, would you respond to it?
That's a good point. I don't know. Depends. I don't know. I'd have to like click on the profile and I'd be like, okay. It depends on the person. It really does. Like, if it's like somebody who I feel like I have nothing in common with, then no. But if I feel like there's a little bit of a connection between me and that person, then sure. And I'm not going to sit here and say, and I'm going to admit, like, I've sent that wave emoji to people and people have responded. In fact, one guy was even just like, what is that? Are you trying to slap me? I was like, no, it's a hi. So there we go.
One way you can step that up is I've actually had a girl send me the like ocean wave and sent me like 3 of those. And that actually, I laughed at that. That was kind of funny.
Wait, I don't get it.
They're waving. They sent like, how it's like they have like the wave in the ocean. They just sent me 3 of those. I'm like, I get it. You're waving. And it's a little bit more creative than just the hand.
I love that. Wait, I might use that.
Go for it. It had some success because I was just kind of like, oh shit, I get it. You're waving. So.
Wait, that's really funny. Okay, I'm ready.
So in regards to what people responded to this, every girl but one of them said yes, no matter what they said that their pickup line was. They said that, if they send a GIF and if someone sent them a GIF, they typically respond, or if they send a cheesy pickup line, they'll typically respond to it. I had one girl who said, hey, what's up? And I asked her if she'd respond to it. And she said, no, probably not. Guys need to be more creative than that. And I told her she was a hypocrite and she unmatched me. So.
Oh my God, Dan.
Some people can't just take their medicine, but.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's a good point.
All right, so obviously I already know the answer to this one, but the next question was, have you ever spent money on a dating app?
No. God, no. I don't know. I'm like over here, like they're like, you could get the premium deluxe package to do all these crazy things. And I'm like, what do you even do? What would you even do to get like premium packages on dating apps? Like, what would that include?
Being able to choose your preference other than race on Hinge.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's free for God knows what reason. But,
yeah. I mean, yeah, but then I get all these notifications from like Tinder and Bumble, and it's just like, join, is it like surge swiping, like swipe night, all that stuff?
Swipe night's free, and sometimes that's actually entertaining.
Swipe night's free, and swipe night's okay.
Swipe night's free. Swipe night's weird. It's like, so for those who don't know, swipe night's like a prompt on Tinder to try to have people have conversations. And it's literally like a story, and like you choose how you would like live out the story. And then as you're swiping through after you go through the story, it'll tell you like if people made the same decision as you, like if they participated in the game and made the same decision.
Oh
and
my God, that
done it
really
once.
sounds like one of my English classes in college.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine, I guess. Like, I don't think I really ever talked to anybody about it other than like after going through the initial conversation, we were looking for something new to talk about. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's an attempt and it's free and it's fun. But
Oh my god.
yeah, as for the results, majority of the girls said no, they haven't. There were a few that said that they have. All three of them said that what they paid for was match. They never paid for the premium of any of the big three. And all three of them said that they found out that the reason most of the guys that they matched with on Match is because they're awkward, and that's probably why they failed at other dating apps. So they said it's not really the great pick of the litter on Match. So maybe I should go on there. Maybe I don't know if I'm patting myself on the back too hard, but maybe I'd be like
top tier. You're probably top tier.
I just don't want to pay.
Yeah, I feel that.
All right. So the follow-up question to have you ever spent money on a dating app is, have you ever gotten close?
No. I mean, just on Match, but none of like the big three. I haven't gotten close.
That's kind of, again, what most people said was that they haven't really gotten close. The people that have gotten close said it was because they were under the assumption that like Match or eHarmony were going to actually be worth it. And it would be on a website that everyone's actually looking to find love because they're willing to spend money to find it. So,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, they still decided not to.
Man, every time I think of like eHarmony, I just think of like those fucking commercials that we watched as kids when it would come on TV, and like Everlasting Love by fucking Natalie Cole would play, and then you're just like, wow, finding love. And then you think, I hope when I'm that old, like I won't have to go on there. And now it's getting to that point where just like, oh no, I'm still single.
Oh no, I am gonna have to go on there.
Oh no, I'm joining it right now. This will be everlasting love.
So the third part of this question is, what would a dating app have to have in order for you to pay for it?
Ooh. Oh God. I have a lot of bills in itself, man. I have to pay for a dating app too. I don't know. I'm curious as to what girls said though. I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. You're getting a little bit more on the spot, whereas obviously a girl could read this and respond to me 4 hours
Right,
later.
yeah. What did females say?
Yeah. So no, this one's actually like, I've actually texted this to a couple of my friends that are like good at like programming.
Uh-huh.
And maybe I'll make money one day creating a dating app, but
Do it.
What?
Do it.
I hope I will, and I still probably won't find love.
Feel that.
But the most common answer was actually that they would never pay for a dating app, and the main reason was because they either aren't particularly proud of being on them in the first place, or they aren't looking for something serious enough to want to pay for it. So that was probably the most popular answer, and I think a lot of people kind of share that sentiment, and that's actually why a lot of dating apps probably in all reality aren't the best way to meet people, probably aren't the best way to find love.
And that's why they're still free. Like, honestly, if there was more like success, I feel like in these dating apps, and more of a want to be on them and a more of a desire to be on them, I think the creators of these big three dating apps would be like, all right, we're charging you bitches.
Exactly. So, and that's the thing. So here's where because of that, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of research about the data behind dating apps. And this is that teaser from earlier where you said, you feel like, and I agreed with you, that you feel as though your relationships from meeting people naturally were better than relationships that you met somebody online.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually found a study that it actually, if you do find love on relationships, 54% of people report that their relationship from a dating app was just as successful as a relationship from someone they met offline.
Oh.
So the majority of people would actually say that a relationship from a dating app is just as good as a relationship that they met otherwise. 5%,
yeah.
5% actually said it was better because they were able to really find someone and be picky and find someone who very specifically fit what they were looking for.
Some people, honestly, like, in order to find something that they're looking for, need to be a little shallow to start, and then it just builds from there. So.
But yeah, no, that number kind of surprised me. The next stat that I kind of looked up as to, people aren't really expecting success out of dating apps in the first place is that 33% of the time a first date does not lead to a second date on dating apps,
That
which I kind of think back to my dates, and I would say that's a pretty accurate number is, yeah.
that makes sense. I can't tell you how many times I actually went on a second date with a fucking guy I met on a dating app.
So, yeah.
Like, rare.
Exactly. But again, getting back to my idea for a new dating app, this actually came from the second most common answer, which was some sort of algorithm, which I'm sure there's probably dating apps that have this, but you probably do have to pay for it. So that's where it's like, my concept is I create something similar to Tinder, but I sell ads. That way people don't have to pay for it, because I'm not going to be a money grubber and try to nickel and dime people everything. People want to pay for ads, I'll make it free. But
Perfect.
But I'm just going to call it smart swiping. So essentially the concept of it is everyone who's on this app is required to answer a bunch of questions for their bio. So, I mean, that's where it might be a little bit similar to eHarmony or something like that. But it's not the super deep questions. It's just something as simple as, a few of them would be like physical traits. What's your hair color? What's your height? What's your eye color? There'll be things for personality. Like, do you like to work out? Are you a regular drinker? What's your religion, politics, etc.? So all of these questions will be required to be answered prior to it, and obviously will be linked to your account, and it'll be saved. If anything changes, make sure you update it.
Okay.
So as you swipe left and right, it'll be able to kind of see, with its algorithm,
What you're looking
they're swiping to a majority of brunettes who are taller than 5'9" and have blue eyes and are moderate in their beliefs. And then as you go through your swiping, there'll be another tab that says, like go to smart swiping. So obviously your smart swiping is not going to have as big of a pool, but you can kind of start your day there, or start your night there, or start anytime you open the app there, just to see, hey, do I have anything in my smart swiping? And this is going to be all the candidates that kind of match your description. And then you can kind of look at the bio from there. And then obviously the bios can be whatever the heck we want them to be. They can have prompts like Hinge, they can have photos, they can have things like that. But a lot of people said that if they were going to pay, they want to have something that has more of their preferences. Because I don't know about you, Hinge tries to do this for me. But
it does. And then I'm just like, you guys are missing the mark.
Exactly. I had someone the other day that was just completely not my type. And I'm like, this is who you saw me as most compatible with?
The most
Are you even looking at my likes?
The most compatible shit on Hinge, I'm just like, this is offensive. Like, they are nothing that I'm looking for, and nothing, like anything. So I'm just like, what made you think that this was most compatible?
Like, I just almost wonder if they were just like, okay, well, you haven't matched with any of the other most compatible. So boom, opposites attract. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works.
Did I tell you about the time that, what do you call it? A guy I actually already hooked up with showed up as my most compatible on Hinge.
Oh, really?
And I was like, that is just so rude. like, obviously, like, Hinge doesn't know, but, like, the universe was clearly fucking with me at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Hinge is just way the hell off. And that's where I feel like, I'm not sure what's going on with their algorithm or how hard of an algorithm it would be to actually write. I feel like there's really smart people that aren't me out there that can figure that out. But, the way that like I said, again, someone mentioned this to me and I just kind of took my brain off. I just kind of really took off with it and just thinking about it. And I mean, when you think about, like, when you go through HR trainings at a company, they're always talking about subconscious biases. And, how when you just look at somebody, even if you don't think you're formulating an opinion, you really are. So why not put that into form of dating app? If that's truth and that's a real thing, then it's happening when you're swiping left and right, So let's take that and use it to the advantage to find people who you're more likely to keep swiping right to. That way you have more of those opportunities and you're going to have more of those things in common. So that was the feature that people said they would pay for. If there is a dating app, whether it was free or not, that had that verified feature, would you pay for it?
Man, I don't know. I don't want to ever be in that situation where I end up paying for a dating app. I mean, if it's like $2 a month, sure.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I see it too.
But like, it's always like 12 or 16 a month, and I'm just like, dude, that's a lot.
Exactly. It just comes down to price for me too. Like I
Yeah.
don't, even though it's my idea, and again, if I ever did develop this, it would be free. I would just sell ad space.
Right.
So sorry, when you're swiping between Brad, Chad, and Thad, you're gonna see a Domino's and a Papa John's commercial.
It's fine.
But
If I'm swiping on guys named Brad, Chad, and Thad, then I'm literally secretly just a washed
but they're
up
all your type.
girl.
That's the other thing. It's Brad, Chad, and Thad. They're all exactly your type based off the algorithm that they found. So that's kind of what my selling point would be. But
That's
anyway,
good. Honestly, I would back you up on that. That's a good idea. You should just
thank
do
you.
it. Fuck
We'll
it.
see what happens.
Fuck it. Just make a dating app.
Moving forward is, what do you put on a dating app when you're looking for sex but don't want to just come out and say it?
Oh man. Well, I mean, there's the options on, I know for sure Bumble, where it's just like when it asks like what you're looking for.
Sex isn't an option.
Sex isn't an option, no, but isn't like
Something casual.
something casual? Yeah, something casual is. So.
Something casual can just be making friends, right? Like you can you can casually be friends with somebody without Davita.
Yes.
You can casually be friends with somebody without fucking them.
Really? That's shocking.
It seems like it is.
That's crazy. That's a concept that I've never heard of before.
But you're actually barking up the right tree with your response, because the majority of the people said that, especially on Bumble, they'll put looking for something casual or don't know in their bio.
Yeah.
And
I think that's really the only way you can like discreetly be like, I'm just here to fuck. I mean, pictures can show it too. If you're really there to fuck, like just promote your body. That's awful.
That was another one, was thirst trap photos.
Yeah.
But they said that it was typically paired with something else, such as, having that prompt of something casual or don't know. And then the other one that people put a lot was putting sexual innuendos in the bio.
Yeah.
So
a lot of tiny emojis, a lot of like those like wet like water driplets. Yeah.
It's not an innuendo. That's like saying I want to have sex. That's not being discreet.
Eggplant, peach, got to do all that.
That's not the question though. That's people who are clearly just out there looking for sex.
I know.
But this is just people so a couple of my favorites of people that are like, yeah, I just put like a sexual innuendo in my bio. One of them was actually a quote from Sex and the City. I don't know which one of them said it because I'm straight. But it's, I will not be judged by you or society. I will wear whatever I want and blow whomever as long as I can breathe and kneel.
I'm pretty sure that's a Samantha quote, but that's besides the point. That's good.
But yeah, it was just like, it's like, okay, yeah, because when you're at a dating app, people are judging you. So, I mean, when you put a quote like that, like, okay, cool, it suggests that you're going to blow people, but it doesn't just come out and say that I'm only here to do that. So
for sure.
Then another girl, along with other stuff in her bio, had something along the lines of looking to hit it, not quit it.
Okay.
And then it was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you miss Taco Bell potatoes?
Oh my God. Solid 7.
So they said
fair.
Yeah, so it was like they'll put thirst trap photos typically paired with 1 or 2 of those things, and that's how they suggest like, yeah, I'm kind of just here for something casual or to hook up, but without putting dick emojis and peaches and the 3 droplets.
Yeah. That's pretty extreme there. That's you want to fuck if you're putting that.
Exactly. So last question I ask people, and this is one that actually kind of prompted all the questions, was how would you feel about a feedback system in dating apps?
I don't want to get my feelings hurt today, Daniel, or any day.
So that's the thing, is it would be something you can opt into. So it would just be like, if you're not getting matches and you feel like you need to make changes to your bio and you're just not sure what to change, you could opt in. Most people said very similar to you, is that they feel like they get offended by it and it really hurt their self-esteem.
Yeah.
But they also felt like they'd be more able to adjust their bios if they knew why people weren't swiping right.
I feel like if it was like, I feel like if it was just like short reasons, like like looks weren't as appealing to me. Like if it was like not detailed, because that could give people the freedom to literally be assholes. Like people could just say no, too ugly.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is there would be no typed out messages. That would
So
be
it would just be codes, like, you know, like not like physically, not like the looks, like not attracted to their looks, or like family differences or stuff like that.
Yeah, so I mean, the way that I would suggest people would picture it, this concept, is when you report somebody, how it has like a reason and then like a sub reason. So like an example of it would be like, okay, you know, looks preference, and then like the only subcategory to that one might be, because that's vague enough. People get the message; they don't need to know more about it.
Looks preference. You're ugly. Not good enough.
Exactly. I mean, people can take that however they want to. The only subcategory I'd have for that is too many group photos.
Okay.
So it's like, if you have all group photos and I can't figure out who you are, I swipe left because, yeah, looks preference. I don't know who the fuck you are. And that would be the only subcategory for that one.
Yeah.
Personality preference would include things like, you know, so you would be able to select the category personality preference, and that could be like political difference, religious difference, social distance, or social difference, not to be confused with social distancing.
COVID.
But that can, again, have another subcategory of like, okay, so what part of their social differences are you feeling? You know, is it like their amount of drinking? Is it the fact that they're a smoker? Is it the fact that it looks like they go out too much, you know, or it would have subcategories along those lines. And then the last one would be offensive. So the first prop that would come up would be, you know, is what they have offensive a reportable thing? Mm-hmm. Yes or no? And then go from there and be like, okay, then why is it offensive? Why is it offensive to you? Is it photo?
Did your match like this? Like, did they? I think it's a great idea. Did everyone respond well to it?
Yeah, once I explained it a little bit more, people were definitely like, okay, yeah, I could kind of see that. But a lot of people were still just at the end of the day would be like, if I get too many of looks preference, I'd want to kill myself. You know?
Yeah, it's like okay, that's the other thing too. It can't show you how many of one that you get. It should just tell you that you got a reason to swipe left, not how many you get, because that that would do something to me for sure.
I don't know. I mean, and again, even if I did create a dating app, I don't think I'd put this in there anyway. Yeah. But that is something where, you know, I mean, people do that. I mean, at least I do that. I'll go to my female friends and be like, hey, you know, like look over my bio, you know, what would you swipe right to this? If not, what can I change? You know, like what looks good, what looks bad. And, you know, I feel like that was kind of the concept behind it for people who don't want to go to their friends and say, hey, fix my bio. This allows them to get a little bit of feedback. And just like I said, helps people know, you know, if you put, because I know that some people will put moderate, and then I'll talk to them and they'll be very strong in either the left or the right. And, you know, maybe and then there'll be people that come up and they'll be really far in one direction and it's obvious, and I'll swipe left. And, you know, maybe people be like, oh, why aren't I matching anybody? Oh, getting a lot of political differences. Okay, maybe I should just change then they can judge it themselves. Does my political stance matter that much to me that I want people to know it? Or do I want that to be able to have a conversation that I can have once I can talk to them? And if they get that enough, then you can either take it off your bio or put it to something moderate and just kind of go from there. So that was the whole concept.
A lot of like awareness too, like have people aware of like what others are looking for and how they can like better their profiles.
Yeah, then my last question that I asked, and I only did this once, and I said, well, actually, this is a question I asked too occasionally, was, do you prefer people to ask for Snapchat or phone numbers? First.
Definitely Snapchat, I'd say. I know it's like, a lot of people are probably like, ew, no, ask for my phone number. Like, no, I would rather have somebody that I matched with and someone I just met have my Snapchat than my phone number. I'm getting some differences here.
I totally agree. I would rather have people have my Snapchat than my phone number. I'm more protective of my phone number.
Yeah.
But the majority of girls said phone number. Really? Which for me, on one occasion, I was able to segue to, well, while we're on the topic, do you mind if I just text you? and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, like, everybody has a phone number. Not everybody has a Snapchat.
Exactly.
So I think that's a big indicator too. So I think it's easier for people to be like, let me just text you because they know for sure you have a phone number. If you're just like, what's your Snapchat? Let me Snapchat you. That could easily give the person an out. Like, oh, I don't have Snapchat.
Exactly. But yeah, those were my questions, and those were how people responded.
Damn, Dan, you should really create a dating app, dude. Like, I would definitely endorse that.
The thing is, I totally would, but the key part of it, I'm not smart enough to do the algorithm. So I gotta find a nerd that is really, and I'm talking like a nerd that has no marketing skills, no people skills, but can put together an algorithm like that. Because I don't want to find a nerd that's a talkative dude and just creates the app on his own. Be like, fuck you, Dan. I don't need you. I need him to need me, and me to need him, and then we can combine to make a great dating app. But until then, I'll use the big three.
You gotta find a nerd, like a nerd that can't even go out in public. No, that's so true though, because I've thought about
like their body count's got to be in the negatives.
Like you have to be a virgin.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh my God. I mean, honestly, I'll admit it here. I've thought about briefly like making my own dating app as well, but so are you ready for it?
I'm here for it.
Okay. So basically it's just a dating app based on astrology, which I know a lot of people, it's like hit or miss, but there's a lot of fucking.
On that note, can you add me back on CoStar? Because I only have like one friend on there.
You need me to add you back on CoStar? Okay, yeah.
I sent you a friend request on CoStar, and I'm like, wow, she still hasn't sent me one. Like, okay.
Oh, okay. I don't check it. Sorry, but like I said, it's like CoStar, but it's a dating app, and it's like it has your sign, and it matches you with people that are compatible to your sign. I feel like people would be into that.
Well, the thing is, I feel like there's just, I mean, it's a very segmented market. I think you'd see it as it's limited because there's people like me who I'm attacking everybody who does this right now. This isn't not attacking, but anyone's like, yeah, sorry, I hit you with my car. I'm a Libra. Your sign isn't a reason to be a jackass.
Sabrina popped up. She's a Libra.
I'm a Libra too, so it's fine. But it's all about balance, you know? Like, I like checking my sign, but I don't use my sign as an excuse for me being a dumbass.
I mean, Tiffany. I know. No, I know. I mean, I feel like the only problem with this dating app is just like me as a Virgo, I'm supposed to be the most compatible of Capricorns, and that clearly is not the case. So I'm just like, how true are these compatibility tests with zodiac signs? So that's the only thing. But I feel like a lot of people would be totally into that.
See, and I feel like that's also, while I just completely bashed it, I feel like I would have like, okay, you know, what's your sign? And if you've done the whole, is it Enneagram? What the fuck?
Yes, Dan, what's your...
I would add that in there too, because as people are swiping, you know, and you're building up your preferences into this algorithm that my nerd's going to build, it's going to factor in stuff like that too, because God, I've taken that test so many times, and I want to say it's like,
I'm a 2. I've been a 2 since I was 14.
I want to say I'm a 7. I don't know.
There's a lot.
I don't get it. Every time a girl's like, what's your whatever it's called, I'm just like, give me 5 minutes. I'll take the test again.
It'll change. I got you.
Like, I just need to get it like saved into a note on my phone. That way I can be like, yeah, 1 second. Let me figure it out.
Yeah, I'm that. Great. Because a lot of people are really into shit like that. So I feel like it would attract that demographic.
Oh, and it absolutely would. And I personally don't believe in it. It's just my own personal belief. Like, the thing that I like about Enneagram more than I do Zodiac is it's more about your personality, not based on when your parents got knocked up. But
That's true. That's true.
Like, it's at least based on compatibility, based on how you are as a person, not so much just randomness. But
For sure.
yeah, I don't know. I'd be down for dating. I'd try dating.
I know your ass would try it.
times.
We would both try these dating apps, let's be honest. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I totally would. I'm getting pretty close to clicking on those ads that say that there's single moms in my area that want to meet.
You do it. I support it. Could you imagine if we had like a Bumble or like Tinder or Hinge warped, like a Spotify warped, like like 560 singles swiped left on you this year?
4 couples
4 couples swiped right on you.
and 1 sugar daddy.
Could you 1 sugar daddy, like 6 sugar daddies messaged you this year. That's all I would want.
You didn't respond to 14 messages that were just, hey.
You've been ghosted 17,000 times.
You,
It was just
1.3 million people have swiped left on you this year.
yeah. You would just look at it like that's not okay. I'm not okay. Oh my goodness. Well, that was fun. I think we're pretty much sold now. I think Dan and I are gonna walk away from this conversation both in the works to create our own dating apps. I don't know about you, dude, but I'm kind of like I kind of want to find a nerd to like set up this algorithm for me.
Oh, absolutely. Hey,
Like,
you know
I
what
think
the
this is how we get rich right here.
best thing about all of this right now is we're sitting at about 2 hours of content right now. And when you and I did a podcast together,
Yeah.
I did all the editing. Once we're done, I'm going to go watch The Mandalorian and probably have another Truly, and I don't have to do shit for editing. And that's kind of the biggest highlight to come out of all of this.
You're fucking
It's just sitting here knowing that I can talk my ass off, build up the longest talk track, and not have to sit in front of a computer for 3 hours editing it down to like 80 minutes.
Yeah,
So.
fuck you, dude. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing, and you know it. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
But honestly, I feel like there's not even much to cut out because we're just naturals together when it comes to podcasting. So I think we're good.
For sure. So
Yeah. We're just those bitches.
exactly. Well, hey, that was a good wrap. That was a good time.
Yeah.
You have a
Yeah,
note
thank
here
you for joining me. It feels like home. It really does.
Absolutely. I had a hell of a time.
Yeah.
You have a note here for final thoughts. So this is the final thought that I'm going to be leaving here.
Mhm.
And just based on how the rest of the night's gone, I'm assuming it's going to trigger Sabrina. Liking The Office, Friends, or Harry Potter is not a personality trait. Don't put it in your bio. Everybody likes it. And thanks for having me on. I had a great time.
Love that. Amazing. Daniel, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Guys, thank you so much for listening once again to another episode of the Quarter Life Happy Hour. It's been an honor. Don't forget to follow on the Instagram, the Twitter, and I just released my website and some new merch. So be sure to check all that out. Guys, I really appreciate y'all listening, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Follow me on Instagram, dmasak too. I probably won't follow back.
Follow Dan on Instagram. If this is Dan's rule, everybody. If you follow him, he'll follow you back. He needs to keep his numbers equal. Bye, guys.